Morning, all. All right, so some news of the day to start things off for your Monday, October the 7th. Starting with injury news at the top of the board. Sharon Govich is going to be out to start the season for Calgary. He has a lower body injury. He's listed as week to week. My rule on that, of course, is if it's week to week, it's at least 2 weeks, usually. And so, without Sharon Govich, that's going to hurt their attack. He is one of their best offensive forwards, being counted on for the goals and the points and all that. And without him in the lineup, it's going to hurt a Flames team that is already being picked to be near the bottom of the league. So we'll see how long Sharon Govich is out and how that affects the Flames, but hopefully he's not out for that long. Ottawa surprised some today, sending Yakimchuk back down to the WHL. He had a good training camp, good preseason, but the speculation is Bruce Garriock believes that when the waiver wire is released in about an hour as to who claimed who, that the Senators will be claiming a defenseman that would explain why he was sent down to the WHL. So we shall see. Austin Watson turns a PTO into a contract. A number of players have done this. Watson signs a 1-year deal. It's a two-way deal as well. It'll pay him $775,000 at the NHL level, $200,000 at the AHL level, and there's a guaranteed $275,000 in it for him in the event that he played most of or all of the season in the AHL. You bump it up to $275,000. Max Pacioretty has been signed by the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is potentially a pretty big deal. He can play in their top nine. Very likely ends up on the third line, I would think, with everybody healthy, anyways. It's a 1-year deal. The cap hits $873,770. There's a $600,000 bonus in there for games played. So there's two different bonuses, around $313,000 for each bonus. And so that's how you make sure that you're keeping your team under the cap, because that $600,000, when it gets tacked on, goes on to next year's salary cap, does not go on to this year's. And they signed Lorentz as well. It's a 1-year deal for Lorentz, $775,000, so league minimum, and that definitely solidifies their forward group. So the Leafs bring in a couple of veterans here on PTOs, and they sign them both, and good on them. So we'll see how things go for both Lorentz and Pacioretty in Toronto. I think Pacioretty, if he can play anywhere near in the regular season as he did in the preseason, the Leafs did a good job here. The New York Rangers news here is that Panarin is going to play in the season opener. So he missed most of the preseason, was day-to-day, and there's a lot of speculation. But yep, he says he'll be ready to go for their season opener Wednesday, which I believe is against Pittsburgh. So yeah, Panarin playing in the season opener. That's great news for the New York Rangers and for the fans. A bit of a surprise with the Winnipeg Jets that Brad Lambert doesn't make the opening night roster. He's sent down to the AHL. Chabrikov's been sent down as well, but Lambert will be one of the first call-ups, I would think. Keep in mind, too, as rosters are revealed and players are sent down, that when a player doesn't need waivers, that has to factor in for a general manager. Opening night roster, everybody makes a big deal about, but a week from now, we're going to be looking at injuries and other players coming up. And the opening night roster part is great and fine and fun and everything, but in the end, you want to make sure that you're not losing anybody on the waiver wire for nothing. So Lambert gets sent down along with Chabrikov. The Montreal Canadiens send down Roy and Mailloux, amongst others. But Roy is one that I'm kind of surprised by because I think he's ready. I think he should be a top 9 forward for Montreal this year. But again, watch the waiver wire. Maybe they're picking somebody up this morning that would explain Raw being sent down. And again, the fact that he doesn't need waivers is going to be a factor. The Washington Capitals sent Crystal down to the WHL and Miroshnichenko getting sent down to the AHL. It has to be tough when you have a guy like Crystal who doesn't really have anything left to prove in the WHL, much like Yakimchuk here, who's clearly good enough to play in the AHL, but the transfer agreement means they have to be sent down to their junior teams. You're not allowed to send them to the AHL. So that's where we're at right now. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, I expect to have a pretty full board a couple hours from now when I do the next video. So stay tuned for that. But thank you guys so much for all your support. Hit like and subscribe in the event that you've not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.